Welcome to my show. It's a guest here. Her name is Mary Crocker Cook. Mrs. Mary, how are you doing, ma?
I am quite well this morning. Thank you for including me.
All right, ma. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mary. Firstly, you are a licensed therapist. Can you please, ma, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mrs. Mary?
Okay. Well, my name again is Mary Crocker Cook. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and addiction counselor. And I've been working with people since 1988. And I am well today. Today is a beautiful day outside in California. I am not in the fires. I'm up north. So I'm safe and sound.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that, Mrs. Mary. Thank you so much, ma. I would like to dive more on your book. You've written a book called Bad Taste, Self Care, and Financial Planning for Women with Bad Taste in Men. Can you please, ma, discuss more about that book? And do you have more book you are planning to write in the coming future, Mrs. Mary?
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate. I always love it when men want to interview me about this book. Um, it's really Bad Taste is really a book for women, but it would apply to men too, in terms of why we keep picking unavailable partners. Okay, so sometimes they're emotionally unavailable because they're married. Sometimes because they're criminals. Sometimes because they're addicted. There's lots of reasons people aren't available. So I wrote this book for people who are not, they're in these relationships, but women who aren't ready to leave, because there's a lot of books to help you leave. In fact, I've written books about in more depth. I have a book site called marycrockercookbooks.com, and I've written a lot of books on attachment theory. And but this book, it's a little book. It's about 80 pages. It's just teeny tiny, and it describes different types of relationships women are in. But what they're all the same in is the person themselves, the man is not available emotionally to really fully participate. And yet we don't want to leave. We have children, religious reasons, it's all kinds of reasons. We love them, right? So, what do we do? How do we make the best situation and make the best financial decisions given that we're not always in the best relationship? So, that's what this is for.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mary, on the insights. I would like to dive to the point of financial abuse, Mrs. Mary. There are a lot of abuse today. We have tons of abuse, but we due to the rise of technology, technology is one of the main tools that will really rise the point of financial abuse, and it has emerged dramatically today. I would like to ask Mrs. Mary so that the audience will understand what do you think financial abuse is, and how do you think someone can also recognize the signs that this could be a financial
Mm,
abuse in a relationship, Mrs. Mary?
mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. And when I think about financial stability, what I'm talking about and is that when you're in poor relationships, they're expensive. Okay, so in fact, describe in my book how much it costs if you're married to a criminal. I describe bail, how to pay bail. I describe how expensive it is in terms of making sure that you've got your financial you have your own credit, that your name needs to be on the lease, because if somebody comes and goes in the relationship, you want your housing to be stable. I talk about a little bit about the types of careers you can study for and get certified in less than a year so that you can provide for yourself. So when I think about these relationships, or men who tend to take advantage of women, right? So they ask you to, hey honey, can you help me start a new business, that kind of thing. And so be able to say, okay, let's take a look at how to protect you from not getting financially in a situation where you're now dependent, you don't have what you need, your credit's ruined. Even something like if your parents want to start a college, small college fund, don't put his name on it if he's not a good guy. Okay, make sure that, yeah, because he'll take the money from the children. So it's a little dark. This book is dark, okay? But um, my from working with women all these years, what I know is if we can take care of ourselves and our kids, it takes a lot of the stress out of the relationship. Because even if they leave or even if they cheat or whatever they do, I'm still stable. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it definitely makes sense, Mrs. Mary. And there will definitely be some reasons some people also stay in this type of relationship. And also, someone who has also realized that, oh, I think I'm in a financial abuse. They
Yeah,
could have gotten to that point. And how do you think, how can someone just, try his best to protect his or her money that, okay, now I think I'm in a financial abuse. How can they try to protect that money if they've suspected that they are in a financial
right.
abuse, Mrs. Mary?
That's right. So part of what you would need to do, and this is something our grandmothers used to do, okay?
Okay.
What grandmothers used to do is when they would buy groceries, they would keep the cash and they would save it, okay? You can get a credit card in your own name. You can start to again pay the bills based on timing to make sure you have cash available. Okay, there are things you can do. Again, finding work outside the house so that you can begin to have a savings account for yourself. Mostly, it has to do with making sure that you have credit in your own name, that you're not fully dependent on the other person financially. Now, if he's a good man, and there's many of them, okay, you don't need to worry. We're only talking about the kind of men who take advantage of you, okay? Because again, if you're with a wonderful man, don't worry about this. But some of us, because of our childhood and our difficulty choosing somebody available, we have bad taste. We tend to pick men who are not reliable. That's just what we do. Okay. We could walk in a room of 99 really good men, and we're going to find the one who's a problem. Okay. That's these women. Okay. And part of this means you have to be honest with yourself about who you are, because if you don't look at it being a problem you have, even if you leave the relationship, you'll go get another one,
Oh,
right? If my pattern is to pick somebody unavailable and I don't work on that, I'll just go find another unavailable guy. Only this time I'll think it's better because he's not a cheater. He just drinks a lot, or he refuses to work, or there's all kinds of reasons. But what they have in common is they're not really a partner for me.
that actually makes sense, Mrs. Mary. That is very, very, very huge. And I would like to also dive, you said it that some people that have gotten to this point that they've been abused financially could, okay, try to get another one, but some might not want to do that. They might want to recover, and which is very hard. It is very hard to recover from that type of abuse. It could
Oh,
even bring
yes,
a lot of anxiety, trauma, and I do
you're
not know
right.
what community, resources, support system that you think that individual can use to recover from this financial abuse, Mrs. Mary.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there are marvelous credit repair organizations. Go to your church if you're a member of a local church. There's even, you can, part of this is, again, find if there's somebody in your life, a friend, who is good with money, asking them to coach you or to teach you, because part of what happens in financial abuse is you lose control of your money. You don't even know how much money you have. And one of the things partners will do sometimes to try to control you is withhold the money. So a lot of times we don't have money management skills, which is why we're vulnerable. So you could even take a community college or a local community center class on how to budget, basically, how to take care of yourself. Because what happens when we don't really know is we just trust the other person to do it, which is not smart. We need to be able to do it also. So even if I let you, yeah, that's fine, you pay all the bills, honey. I still need to know what's in the checking account. I still need to know what the bills are, right? I need to know. And I think the mistake a lot of women make is they just sort of turn it all over and go, I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, and that is not a good position to be in. I would say that's true for men as well. I've seen men who did that. They had their women do it all. I don't like to pay bills, she'll do it. Again, it's not good to not know. Okay, you need to know, even if you're not the one technically doing it, right? Because it leaves you in a position where you don't know your options and choices. The whole deal with this, with financial planning, has to do with knowing your options, right? And again, it doesn't even mean I need to leave or anything else, but I do need to know my resources. What do I have available? Okay, and I can again go to community centers, I can go to churches, I can look up credit repair. I again get a I need to get a credit card in my own name. There's things I can do. Even a small savings account at the bank with my name on it. Even if I put $10 a month, okay? There's something about that that creates stability for the woman, right? Rather than I have no resources.
It really makes sense, Mrs. Mary. It
Yeah.
really makes sense. That would definitely help a person who has faced this serious trauma to possibly
Yeah.
recover. I do not know how long it take that for that recovery to come, but
Oh,
the person might probably maybe feel like he or she has recovered and would like to go, probably maybe want to fall into a new relationship. What red flag do you feel like, early red flag do you feel like, people should watch for a new relationship, Mrs. Mary?
very smart. Okay. In terms of, let me go back to the other piece, which is yes, it takes a long time. I think the hardest part, because I've lost a lot of money with men. I'm terrible.
Oh,
Yeah. I help them with their business.
mm,
That's my weakness. Okay. Helping them with their business. Bad idea. But I've done it. Okay. Lost a lot of money. All right.
mm.
And the reason it's hard to recover is because you stop that, because you feel so foolish. You feel so foolish. Okay, you're hard on yourself. You have a tendency. We blame ourselves instead of the man. We blame us. What was I thinking? I'm so stupid. So part of the, in some ways, for me, getting the money, eventually I earned it back. It
Mm.
was the blaming me and beating up on myself that took a while, and I needed support with. Okay, because eventually I got the money back, not from him, but I earned it back. It's fine. Lesson learned. But um, now I've forgotten the second half of your question. Sorry.
Yes,
I was
the
focused on how long it took to, to
exactly.
recover. What was
Someone.
the other piece?
Yes, the other piece was someone who has felt like, okay, I have
Oh, new
recovered.
relationship.
Exactly, red
Okay.
flag.
All right. Pay attention to how they manage their money. Okay. Pay attention. How do they talk about money? Um, do they are they realistic in terms of, or do they have all these plans, things they'd like to do, right? You need to, it's I know it's exciting when people have all kinds of plans, but the truth is, what is real is how they live right now. And the way women get sucked in is what a man's gonna do, right? I'm gonna open this business. I'm gonna buy this house. I'm gonna, pay
Mm.
attention to how he lives right now. Does he live in his mother's basement? Okay. He's not financially probably stable. I don't care what he says. We have a tendency to listen to what people say, pay attention to what they do. right? Or let's say he's in his mother's basement because he went through a divorce and he doesn't have a lot of money. What is he doing to change his situation? What is he doing? Is he saving? Is he planning? Is he working a couple jobs to get stable again? What's he doing? Because we're women, we have a tendency to to see a man, particularly women like this, who have trouble with picking. We tend to see a man's possibility, not who he is right now. So I always tell women, you have to buy him as is, like you would a house, as is. If it changes, great. But this is who the person you're choosing is, right? Be honest with yourself. Does that make sense? I
It's
mean,
really.
people tell you who they are. Okay, I've had lots of. I know a lot of very nice men. I also have known men, and they'll tell you, I'm really terrible in relationships. They'll tell you that at the beginning, and it's like we don't hear that. Or they'll say, I'm terrible with money. I've never been good with money. We don't listen. Okay, so listen when people tell you about themselves. That because you're next, right?
Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
next.
Exactly, because those most of the type, most of those type of men just go from one to another and another and
Yes.
another, educating the women and even the ladies out there are the best way to conquer situations like this. And lastly, Mrs. Mary, I would like to go to the point of advice of those who still feel like they are financially trapped. It is not easy. They feel like they are financially trapped and they are in this terrible relationship and they do not know what to do. What advice would you give to someone who feels financially trapped financially in a
Mm-hmm.
bad relationship but unsure of the next step she wants to take, Mrs. Mary?
Okay. When you're trapped financially, your self esteem is low. You don't feel good about you. And so you need to have small victories. So even now, what my grandmother used to do was she used to keep $20 in her bra. I'm just saying. It was her emergency money. When you start to put aside even a little bit, okay, you start to feel a little more control, a little more hope. Because no, you probably don't have a huge option right now. What you need to be able to do is see the future, okay? And that might mean doing small things to earn money, like um, hemming people's clothes, the neighbors, maybe watching a child once a week to earn a little extra cash. Something you can do that can help you start to see yourself as a competent, smart person, right? Because part of what happens is we feel really, excuse me, badly about ourselves. And we need to see ourselves as somebody who's capable of, of moving forward. So sometimes, again, there's what grandmas did when they went shopping. And again, they would get at least a little five, they keep whatever the change was and they'd put it away somewhere. Okay. So you can start to build slowly. Also, community colleges, they have courses of study that you can get a good job in less than a year. Less than a year working in radiology, phlebotomy. There's things you can do that get you actual money. Again, so it's partly just figuring out slowly but surely a path and then having support. Like you're going to need cheerleaders because you're living with somebody where you don't have good self-esteem. So you need friends, you need again somebody from the church, somebody who you can trust, at least one other person. If you had to, you can keep the cash at a neighbor's house that you trust. Okay, I mean there's things you can do that again, you can see that you're digging your way out because we need to see it, or we get hopeless. We get hopeless.
It really, really helps. And even Mrs. Mary, I have to be honest with you. The way you are saying this thing, I feel like it is a really, really big trap. It is not easy at all. If a person,
No,
most especially if a woman or a lady gets into this type of situation,
I know.
personally, I did not know that such thing usually happen. I did not know that something like financial, I did not know it really happens. But this also give me the insight that things like this are happening, and it really really happens. And the insight is make sure you monitor every single one of it. It is not easy, and always try to recognize this red flag early. The earlier, the better. Thank you so much, Mrs.
You
Mary.
bet.
Exactly.
Believe people when they talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Believe them. Okay.
Exactly. When they say I am this, listen, I am that,
Yes, right.
listen. Exactly. I completely agree with you, Mrs. Mary. Lastly, Mrs. Mary, there's a question I normally ask ma during the end of the show. From the ancestors, from the forefathers, there are a lot of things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mrs. Mary, what do you think that thing will be, ma'am?
Well, what I would say to you is, if you go to my book site, marycrockercookbooks.com, okay, there are books. There's this little book, which is Bad Taste, which is for women who are staying, but there's also books about, with more depth, about how to change over time. Okay, so again, this all takes time. And we need to understand how we get in these situations so that we change it. Again, changing the relationship, it may not be the solution. The solution is I need to change me.
It's really, really huge question. Mrs. Mary, I know it is definitely not easy. I am so happy you are doing this today. We need to educate a lot of people today. Things like this are happening outside, and you have to be willing. They are really even much outside, and someone have to just be very, very careful. I want to also sincerely thank you for the opportunity, for the
Of
time on
course.
speaking on this financial abuse. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mary.
I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you very much.
All right, so have a wonderful day, Mrs. Mary. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye-bye.